Hello, 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 hello. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wherever you may be around the world, welcome to another episode, Kingdom Podcast. I am so happy that you guys are able to join me today and you had a wonderful day and you are looking forward to the weekend. Today, I want to be talking about President Trump border wall, okay? And it's just a beautiful wall. Like you said, it's beautiful. It's a lot of work. I am so proud of all the people that are putting effort into building the wall, including the engineering, the construction workers, the welders, even the army are putting their 2 cents. So, and remember that this wall is being built 24/7 around the clock. Okay, so different people take different ship. Okay, so as you know that the president has a lot of criticism because he wants to build the wall. He wants to protect our country. Okay, and the USA is not the first, not the last country that has a wall or that is building a wall. Okay, even as we speak now, Europe, a lot of country in Europe, they have mass deportation. Okay, and they are either reinforcing their wall or they're replacing their wall or building new walls. Okay, but the reason that in the USA we have so many illegals, okay, illegals because they keep on calling the illegals immigrant or legal people that did it the right way, people that waited online, they waited for their turn, okay, they went to the proper channel, okay, to come to the US and establish themselves there, okay. The illegals, they just cut the line, get in front, okay, and most of these people, they just want to come to the USA just to come, okay, and 90% of these people are economic people. They come from bad neighborhoods and their country. The slums and things like that. Okay, and they feel entitled, so they just come to the USA. Okay, and for all the wrong reasons, reasons. Okay, and these people that are coming in, we don't need this type of people in the United States of America. Okay, and this is why you start to see that the USA has basically become a ghetto ghetto country. Okay, because of the type of people that's coming in illegally. Okay, and they feel entitled, and it's been like, if to me it almost feel like a century there have not been any discipline, you know anything done right in the USA, because these people have been getting away so long with so many things. Okay, being illegal to them, being living in the country without papers has become normal. Okay, and for them to get papers, that's wrong, but for them not to have papers, that's the right way. You get me? Okay, so because they know that if they're illegal are here in the USA, and they can work, they can buy homes, they can have driver's license, they can pay taxes. Okay, why should they bother getting their papers? Okay, why should they? Because if they can have everything, okay, work without any papers illegally, this is why most of these people don't even bother getting legal, getting their papers, because they know that why should they? Because the same thing that the citizen of the USA is doing, they do the same thing. You see? So anyway, we're going to be talking about the wall. And the wall is the most expensive wall in the world because it costs around 46 million. I think it's like 46 million a mile, okay, for that wall to be built. $46 million for 1 mile, okay? And this border has been open for too long, for too long. No wonder the country is invaded with so many foreigners, because most of them did not come in the proper way at all. Okay, the millions that sneak in to that border when it was wide open. You see, and they had like joke. They don't even wall. I would say fence. People would just skip in a dip, hop all over it, and they're right there in the USA. And this has been going on for the past 50, 60 years, maybe 70 years. Okay, whatever. Yeah, you see. So anyway, I want you guys to listen to the video that I put up, um, talking about the wall, and I'll be seeing you guys after the video.
I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall.
This is the U.S.-Mexico border wall, and it is one of the most expensive infrastructure projects in U.S. history, costing a whopping $46 million per mile in some areas, and yet it still fails to do what it was built for. Building a wall on the border with Mexico sounds simple, but that border is a huge place. As you can see, it spans from here all the way to this point, 1,954 miles. It's a place of frequent exchange. $797.9 billion worth of bilateral trade went through these lands in 2023. But there's also a problem that the American public has wanted solved for decades: the millions of people illegally crossing that border. So the idea emerged to wall it off. The problem: it's a big place to cover, and some parts, like here, near Guadalupe Canyon on the Arizona-Mexico border, are mountainous, which means they'll be harder to build a wall in. Single-layer pedestrian fencing on the border cost $6.5 million per mile in 2009. 10 years later, the American Immigration Council estimated the remaining unfenced areas would cost $16 million per mile. But if you're really serious about preventing illegal entry, you need more than that. Sophisticated human smuggling networks can easily bypass such barriers. That's why the first Trump administration decided to build barriers made of steel bollards with concrete filler. That's harder to cut through, but the material costs significantly more than a fence, and you need to look beyond the surface, literally. Some parts of the wall need underground reinforcement to guard against another problem: tunnels. It turns out there's a lot of them on the border. That naturally adds more to the price tag. But the way this material was gathered ballooned the costs even further. The first Trump administration often awarded contracts for wall construction without a competitive bid process in order to speed up the building schedule. The result was a cost of about 5 times more per mile of barrier compared to previous administrations, averaging out to about $20 million per mile across all sectors of the border and all the contractors involved by January 2020. And 373 of the 458 miles his first administration built was replacement of existing, less elaborate barriers, rather than brand spanking new wall. The Trump wall is the most expensive border barrier of its kind in the world, but the costs don't even stop there. After all, once you build something, you need to keep it in repair. According to the Department of Homeland Security's budget for fiscal year 2017, when Trump first took office, maintenance costs would reach as high as $750 million per year, based on the $274 million it was already spending on maintaining less expensive walls. And we haven't even talked about the legal and administrative costs yet. You can bet there's always going to be costly paperwork somewhere on a project like this, and there's a lot of it here. The United States government doesn't own all of the land that makes up the border. In fact, 2/3 of that real estate is privately owned. The United States government would be well within its rights to take that land under eminent domain for national security purposes, but that doesn't happen with the stroke of a pen. There's an extensive and costly legal process involved. $78 million by August 2017, with $21 million still to go as of then. And that was mostly before Trump took office. In July 2020, A DHS Inspector General report concluded that the United States Customs and Border Protection had failed to demonstrate the large-scale land acquisition capabilities it would need to secure the southern border. This inability led to contract modifications that contributed to more cost overruns. There were over 200 such modifications by October of that year, near the end of President Trump's first term. So the expenses to build the border wall just kept going up. Trump's attempts to come up with the cash have led to additional costly legal challenges. He took a lot of money that Congress had designated for other purposes to do it. Congress only approved $4.5 billion of the $18.4 billion of wall funding from 2017 to 2020, and these legal challenges delayed construction. More uncertainty about the wall came when Joe Biden took office in 2021. As he promised, he stopped building it, throwing existing contracts into limbo. Not only that, he sold a lot of the material off. For example, between April and August of 2023, the Biden administration sold 81 steel structural tubes which would have been used in the wall's panels for a $2 million profit. Biden also sold more than 700 28-foot hollow beams for $212 each. He would have sold more, too, as he tried in December 2024, following Trump's second election victory, but a federal court blocked him. So now, Trump will need to buy all the material Biden sold off if he wants to continue building the wall as promised, adding yet more expenses. Despite Biden's initial promise, he did build a 20-mile stretch of the wall in 2023 using previously allocated funds. But that's only a drop in the bucket compared to the miles left to be completed. Then there are the Native American tribes that live on the border. Their presence adds other legal problems to real estate acquisition. Tribal lands make up a significant part of the 1/3 of border area that isn't under private ownership. For example, the Tohono O'odham Nation in Arizona has long cooperated with the federal government in border security operations, but published a resolution of opposition to the wall in 2017, fearing that it would cost a lot more than just money, particularly for them. Because the border is so big, it straddles all kinds of terrain, so construction methods in one place might not work in another. Some of the land is rough and requires equally rough handling. Occasionally, explosives will need to be used to go through mountainous or other rough terrain. These techniques naturally come with severe cultural and environmental impacts in the border area. Native American communities on both sides of the border have been disproportionately impacted. Sacred cultural sites have been damaged by these blunt construction methods, including tribal burial grounds. The wall has even interfered with their ability to access essential water sources. The hit to local ecology has been as severe. The first Trump administration waived environmental laws such as the Endangered Species Act and the National Environment Protection Act to ensure rapid border wall construction, and the result could be devastating to many plant and animal species. For example, the wall may hamper the migration of species like the jaguar, Mexican wolf, and ocelot by preventing them from reaching their northern ranges. But it's not just the charismatic species like these. Over 93 endangered animals could be threatened through habitat loss and fragmentation. Unique plant species are also under threat. The wall might threaten the movements of pollinators, for example, which in turn means fewer of the plants will reproduce. This ecological damage was exactly what the Tohono O'odham Nation feared in 2017 as the Trump wall began to be built. Their resolution opposing the project warned that it would injure endangered species of animals and plants sacred to native tribes, deny tribal members access to their cultural sites like cemeteries, further divide tribal communities, and interfere with their rights to practice their religion, such as the annual St. Francis pilgrimage to Magdalena, Mexico. Because Trump made the wall such a central campaign promise, no area has been off limits to its construction. Arizona's Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument, San Bernardino National Wildlife Refuge, Coronado National Forest, and parts of a national wildlife refuge in the lower Rio Grande Valley of Texas have all seen wall infrastructure built. Mark Morgan, the acting commissioner for Customs and Border Protection during the first Trump administration, answered the environmental concerns in September 2023 by saying, "If we disrupt a butterfly habitat or a few cacti die in exchange for disrupting the cartel's operational capacity to threaten our nation's safety and national security, I'm okay with that trade-off." But that begs the question, does the border wall actually work in the way he assumed? The Trump border wall has an impressive height. It's 30 feet high in some places. It's also made in a way that's hard to climb. And even if someone does climb it, getting down is an ordeal of its own. There are 229 climbing-related injuries in the wall sections Trump built between October 2021 and June of 2022. That sounds like a point in his favor. But people being what they are, they can and have found ways to get around the barrier. Some people in the area between Granjeño and Hidalgo have used ladders that cost as little as $5 to safely get over the wall. Despite its more durable construction, people have found a way to cut through it too. It happened 3,000 times between 2019 and 2021, thanks to the help of common construction tools like angle grinders and demolition saws. But then there are the tunnels that go under it. Smugglers have used tunnels to get beneath barriers on the US-Mexico border since at least the 1900s. Over 150 were found by 2017. Some of these tunnels are shockingly sophisticated, and the Trump border wall hasn't been as effective against them as it was advertised to be. The San Diego sector of the border is among the most heavily fortified. Nevertheless, authorities discovered a tunnel there connecting to Tijuana, Mexico in January of 2020, and it was one of the most elaborate they ever encountered. It was over 4,000 feet long and featured rails, ventilation, and its own electricity supply, and even a drainage system. This was not a freak accident either. Border authorities found a similar tunnel in the same area just 2 years later. Where there's a will, there's a way, and wannabe border crossers have demonstrated remarkable ingenuity in defeating a barrier that Trump said would be impregnable. Granted, the more sophisticated attempts tend to come from Mexico's rich and powerful transitional criminal organizations looking to traffic drugs and people into the United States. But what about the ordinary people who couldn't go over, through, or under the wall? Contrary to popular belief, President Trump has at times downplayed the idea of a wall across the entire length of the border because there were natural barriers that would prevent illegal entry. That part was true, but it hasn't stopped people from trying to cross these natural obstacles. Instead, the wall has often funneled them into these much more dangerous sections of the border. Between 1994 and 2017, the remains of 7,800 border crossers were found in remote areas like the Sonoran Desert. Border fortifications didn't stop these people's determination to get to the United States. It rather just forced them to take the journey at much greater risk to themselves. To make matters worse, there are a lot of children that make this trip. About half of the people who try to cross the border are families with small children, and encounters with unaccompanied minors have soared since 2010, meaning that there's a high probability that many more crossing through formidable terrain did not make it through in one piece. Humanitarian groups have placed water and other supplies along these more remote desert routes to help prevent fatalities. But naturally, this approach has its detractors. Critics argue that these supplies only incentivize more people to take the risk to enter the United States illegally. The border wall putting the most vulnerable people like this at the highest risk is a highlight of both the virtues and dangers of fortifications. No fortification has ever been impregnable. The wall on the border with Mexico is effective in bringing more trouble to the people that want to cross. But with illegal immigration at a record level over the last few years, it's reasonable for people to wonder whether this piece of infrastructure is worth the financial, environmental, and humanitarian costs. Bye for now.
I hope that you did enjoy the video. And basically, the wall is there to protect everybody. You know, And as I grew up in the States and, I was born here, um, I never knew anything about this wall at all. At all. I didn't know anything about that. Okay, but it's like when I grew up enough to understand, and I'm like, all this time, this thing has been wide open, allowing just anybody and anyone to come in and, you know, settle house in there, settle a house in the USA. And let me tell you something. Someone that has the nerve to cross into anybody country illegally, okay, thinking that they have the right and they feel entitled. Those people they don't feel anything. They don't respect the law. They don't respect you. They don't respect the country. And they don't even respect themselves. You see? And then when they get deported, when they get mistreated, maltreated by ICE, they're wondering why. Because if you respected yourself, if you did things the right way, people will not be disrespecting you and mistreating you. Okay? So anybody, doesn't matter what country you go to, okay? Everybody has displeased against people just coming in illegally. It truly is a lack of respect. It's just like just come into somebody's house. They don't even know who you are. You just come in, open the door, and settle in. Okay, you put your clothes up and you go to the person's kitchen and you start cooking, and then they have no idea who you are. It's the same thing, and then on our tax dollars, on our tax dollars. You see, and these people think that it's the government that's doing things. So they know it's the USA citizen tax dollars that's taking care of you. And they come in and they have all these anchor baby. Today I was listening to a news report, and they were saying how the past 4 years with Biden, which is the worst president of all time, Biden, the 4 years, that's with the illegal that came in, they had more babies. That's why they say they had more babies than the citizen of the USA. Because we know how hard things are. We know that we don't get anything. We know that things that are not just given to us, and we got to work our butt off for everything. We got to work our butt up till our body aches every day. You see, but these people come in and they just drop an anchor baby, three, four, five, six of them. You know, so I hope that this will continue to be. I hope that President Trump build as much as he can because he's going fast. He's doing it fast. I hope he gets at least 75% or 80% of the wall done and repairing the ones that are too old. He's gonna repair them. Okay? And I know that he's gonna get it done. Okay? President Trump is a man of discipline. Okay? He respects himself. He's a man of order. Okay, he has order. So if you're someone that's disciplined and you have order, you're fully gonna get him. You're fully gonna understand where he's coming from. You know, people that are criticizing him, talking bad about him, these people have no shame. They have no discipline. They don't have any order. So anyway, guys, I gotta go and comment below. Let me know what you think of
to
the
the
video,
channel.
okay?
Okay,
And I want to
support the
say thank
channel,
you to
like the
all
video,
the
comment. Okay,
subscribers, people that have
subscribe
commented,
to the channel,
okay?
support the
And don't
channel.
forget to like the
Okay, and for
video,
those of you that like the
like the
video and you
video,
wanna
subscribe to the
donate,
channel,
support
okay? This
me,
is a
my
new channel.
PayPal
Anyway, it's brand new.
link is in the
I mean,
description
I
box
had
below.
I
Thank
had
you so much for
the
listening, and I see you
I
guys soon in
had
the
it
next video.
sitting there, but I just
To the
started
channel.
posting
Okay,
video on it.
support the
So
channel, like the video,
let's
comment.
make this
Okay,
channel what it is.
subscribe to the
Okay,
channel,
let's make
support the
it good.
channel.
Let's make it great.
Okay, and for
Okay,
those of you that
and
like the
and
video
I'm
and you
gonna
wanna
continue to post more
donate,
things.
support me,
And I
my
hope to see you
PayPal
guys
link is in the
on the next
description
video
box
soon.
below. Thank you
Everything you
so
need
much
to
for
know
listening, and I see you
will
guys
be
soon in
in
the
the
next video.
description box below. All the
To
links
the
you need. Okay,
channel.
if you want to
Okay,
support the
support the
channel,
channel, like
you
the
may do
video,
so.
comment.
Thank you so
Okay,
much, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.
subscribe to the channel, support the channel.